What's up, gorgeous people? How are you? It's been 2 weeks since I've done a vacuum chat, so I think it's about time that I get in here and we talk real estate and what is going on and the opportunities that I would prefer you not miss out on. So, let's talk about a couple things that you need to know about. First of all, I've been watching lately a lot, and I mean a lot, of videos on people, in my age group, Gen Xers and Gen Z and millennial buyers that, they can't afford a home, and the frustration between boomers and my generation, and that you used to be able to afford a home on, say, a salary of someone who worked at a grocery store or worked for the old phone company or what have you. There's a lot of these videos going around, and while I get it, like, trust me, I get it. I think that it is definitely harder to buy a house, but I'm here to tell you that if you are willing to make some concessions, you will buy a house. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. And I'm going to tell you how to do it right now. First and foremost, and this surprises me that most veterans don't know this, and this is coming as a shock to me. If you're a veteran, you can get a loan 100% financed through the VA to get a house with no mortgage insurance. Now, mortgage insurance is typically, it's calculated on your purchase price, but it's also just in case you default on the loan. So you're paying mortgage insurance every single month. But, if you're a veteran, you don't have to pay that. And one of the questions I always ask people when I meet them at my open house, they're like, oh, we have to qualify, we don't have enough money for the down payment. We're going to talk about that in a second. But the first question I always ask them is, have you served in the military? And there's a lot of people who have, for whatever reason, don't know about their VA benefits, which just shocks me. And when I ask them if they told the lender that they've been talking to, they say no. And my next response is, well, then you need to get a different lender. Because if the lender isn't asking you that question, that should be just like mortgage 101. Like, every mortgage lender should say, yeah, I can, I have served, or have you done that? That's just a common question. Like, who doesn't do that? So that's first and foremost. Now, second of all, let's talk about two other programs. And if I have lenders watching right now and you have similar programs, then chime in. I'm happy to bring you on live. I do these things, sometimes I've brought people on impromptu, but let's talk about it for a quick sec. Rocket Mortgage. They have a 1% mortgage. Now, the biggest reason why people say they have a hard time buying a house is because saving for the down payment. I get it. Houses aren't $30,000 like when our grandparents bought it. I think my dad paid something like $60,000 for the house that we ended up growing up in, which coincidentally was the house he grew up in, and he bought it from my grandpa back in the 80s, the early 80s. So, there was a lot of opportunity, and there was a lot of that going on, where people would buy houses and then just pass it down to their children. My dad eventually sold that house, built a new house. I think he built it. I don't know what he did with it. Anyway, and he just sold that, and now he's in a new house. A newer house. He's had it for about 3 years now. But anyway, my point is, Tim, I do this all the time. I'm a professional. By the way, Tim, I'm going to call you tomorrow, just for your FYI. So when you see my name pop up, pick up. I can't call you today, but I am calling you tomorrow. But anyway, so let's talk a second about a couple programs. First of all, Rocket Mortgage is doing a 1% down payment program. So this will help eliminate some of you having to afford to make a large down payment on a house. Now, there are multiple conventional loans you can do. You can do a 3% down, 5% down, 10% down, 20% down. You can do a 17% down if you want. It's completely up to you what you want to do, but the minimum for a conventional loan is 3% down. So let's rewind and talk about Rocket Mortgage for a second. Rocket Mortgage is offering a 1% down payment program. Now, before some of you light me up in the comments and say, that's just ridiculous, this is what's happening. So you have to come up with 1%. Rocket Mortgage is granting you 2%, so then you'll walk into the closing with 3% equity. It doesn't sound like much, but guys, there's plenty of people putting 3% down on their mortgages and buying houses. I just closed one, so it's happening all over the place. Now, you, as the borrower, can put up to 3% down. Rocket Mortgage will grant you 2%, and then you can, then you'll have 5%. So you'll walk in with 5% equity, but that's your limit right there. Now, you can't be more than 80% of the median gross income in San Diego, which is $116,000. That's the median income for San Diego, which means 80% is $92,500. So if you make more, you can't qualify for more than what $92,500 would bring in for you. That's first and foremost. Now, if we're looking at properties that have been on the market for a hot minute, then what we're going to be doing is we might be able to be asking those sellers for some closing cost concessions, right? Chances are they may not do it. So closing costs, just FYI, are typically between they're about 2% of the overall purchase price of a property. So let's say it's an $800,000 purchase, right? So you're looking at about $16,000. Most times, if homes have been sitting on for a significant period of time, sellers are starting to give credits for closing costs. Not in all cases, but in many cases. We can get some of those costs paid for. The other thing is there are down payment assistance grants coming out the wazoo. And when I tell you this, you guys, there's money out there depending on the city you move to in San Diego County. Each city has programs. San Diego County has programs. I've shared this with you before. If you're not working with me, first of all, why not? And second of all, you need to get your lenders and your realtors to look up what programs the specific home that you want to buy has. And I promise you, there are programs and there is money. So there is a website that real estate agents can access through the California Association of Realtors. I don't think consumers can access it, but I know I can. So let's say there's a house. I pull up 123 Banana Street, and I see 123 Banana Street has 19 different down payment assistance programs. Now, will you qualify for all 19? No. And as a matter of fact, and I'm just throwing 19 out as a random number because, there can be as many as 19. But let's just say there's 19. Let's say 5 of them are not funded yet, or they've ran out of funds for the year. So that brings us down to 14. So you have 14 opportunities now to make a purchase of a home. From those 14 opportunities, we go through and we go, okay, you know what? You're not going to qualify for 7 of them. Some of them are down payment assistance grants. So you may not apply for 7 of them, but there's 7 that you do qualify for that we might be able to look into. So you need to be working with someone that can actually help you find these programs. And I've been doing a lot of digging. There's also the California Dream for All program is coming out. That is a shared equity program. This was a program that came out last spring. It ran out of money. It was only able to help 2,200 families in the state of California, but it's a shared equity program where you get the 20%. Well, you have to put in 3%, so you get the rest in the down payment. So it's 20%. And then what you do is that's a silent second. So when you go to sell the house, you have a shared equity. So they get their 20% back or their 17% or whatever. Then you share the equity. So let's say your equity is $100,000 and you sign a commitment that you're going to give up 25% of your equity. That means you're giving up $25,000 to replenish the fund. So that way the fund then can go help other people like it helped you. Now, there's people criticizing saying, well, why should I have to give up my equity? Well, you got help. Help people who get help other people. And that's just the way it is. So there is that. Now, you do, that's only good for primary residents. You have to complete 2 classes with CalHFA, which these aren't going to take you like days. These are going to take you hours to complete. It's not that big of a deal. So the fund, there's going to be updates coming this fall. So we're just like a week or 2 away from this heading out. So if you've thought about buying, I need you to get on the stick today. And if you know somebody that has, I need you to get on the stick today. We need to start having these conversations. The other thing is, in the BIPOC community, the California, in the San Diego Community Housing Works. It's either San Diego Community Housing Works. I think it's San Diego Community Housing Works. I'll double check and look it up. But Wells Fargo is offering up to $20,000 down payment in BIPOC communities and $20,000 in down payment assistance. There's also the NACA program that you can tap into. There are so many down payment assistance programs, guys. There are so many that you can tap into because there's a lot of people here in California that are saying prices are too high. I can't save for the down payment. And I get it. I 1,000% get it. I see your pain every single day. I see it on your faces. I see it in your Facebook posts. I see it on your TikToks. But my challenge is, have you dug in the right places to look for it? Let's go back to the California Dream for All for just 1 second. This is the thing that I always say when people have said, well, I don't want to use that program because I'm going to have to share some of my equity. Okay, well, yes, you are. But let's say you earn $100,000 equity, which is probably going to be really conservative equity because you want to hold it for 2 years, right? You got to hold it for 2 years for capital gains purposes. Always consult your tax professional about that. I am not a tax professional and I'm not giving you tax advice, but you hold it for a minimum of 2 years. Let's say $100,000, probably very conservative, what you're going to gain in equity on your house. My question to you is, let's say you did have to give $25,000 of that back. Let's say it's 25%. Could you have saved $75,000 in 2 years? If you can, then don't do it. Then put 20% down in a house and buy something bigger. But if you can save $75,000 in 2 years, then don't do that. Don't do that program. That's just as simple. And then you can put your $75,000 into whatever property you want and get your equity out of it. Guys, there is so much opportunity out there. And I want you to get out of the mindset. Stop watching the news. Stop watching the media. You all know I worked in television for 10 years. You all know that. Some of you are watching right now that I have worked with in television. You've got to stop watching the media. They are going to tell you the worst of the worst of the worst that's happening. And that's just what we do. That's just what they did. That's just how we got ratings. So we need to stop that. I would definitely encourage each and every one of you to reach out and let me know if you have any questions whatsoever, because there are plenty of down payment assistance programs out there. There are plenty. In fact, one of my new things is I'm going to start going through and I'm going to show you how much is out there. I'm just going to show you what that looks like and what you could potentially qualify for. The thing is, you need to work and you need to speak to a lender who knows what they're doing in those instances. Okay? So, I'm on my soapbox, a little hot today because I just watched a TikTok video of a guy who was a little bit younger than me saying, we can't afford a house and da 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 da. And I'm like, oh God, nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about the assistance programs that are out there. All right. So I will be off my soapbox. I'm going to get on the interwebs. By the way, just FYI, I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of you tomorrow. So if you see my phone number pop up across your screen, pick it up. Or if you get a message from me on the interwebs, answer it, please, because I have a goal of having 100 two-way conversations tomorrow. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, you know I love you all. I know this one was a little hot, but we can make it this. This can happen for you. I promise. I promise. And I'm going to do a better job of showing you how this can happen for you because it's, I take responsibility for not being your advocate because I have not done a great job of telling you about this. I tell people at open houses, but I've got nearly 3,000 of you as an audience, so I'm doing a better job. All right, guys, go out, do something good today. Reconnect with someone you haven't chit-chatted with in a while. Love to you all, and I will talk to you soon.